All right, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakaha Kodash. And double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yakim, bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. And as you see on the title of the lesson, both sides will be fueling civil war. All right, I have an article and also this TikTok trend, that I witnessed, man. Right, but I want to start off with the book of Mark, the third chapter, and the 23rd verse, and it reads, Yahweh called them over and responded with an illustration. How can Satan cast out Satan, he asked. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. Similarly, a family splintered by feuding will fall apart. And if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He would never survive, right? But the point was the 23rd, it's like a 24th verse. It says, a kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. And that's ultimately what's going to happen, man. Believe it or not, when we see this right here, it says immigration officers assert sweeping power to enter homes without a judge's warrant. The memo says, right? And you see who it is, ICE, right? And what are they doing? They causing havoc all across America, or really the IDF, right? Because they're being trained by the Israeli Defense Force, man, right? And as the scripture says, they are those madmen, sparing none. And we're going to get into that as well, right? Matter of fact, let's grab I'll start here at 1 second. Select it. I'm grabbing one more preset. Because I'm gonna read this in 2nd Edges 16. It's like a 2nd Edges 15, but I'm also reading another precept in the book of 2nd Edges 16. Oops. There we go. So getting to this article, it says an internal immigration and customs enforcement memo shows the agency is authorizing immigration officers to enter people's home without a judge-signed warrant. A major shift in enforcement policy, basically saying, hey, they have the right and leverage to do whatever they want. And on top of that, we understand Trump gave them full immunity, which means that if they off somebody, guess what? They're not held by those legal bounds, as a normal police officer or a citizen would be held to, man. they get paid leave for doing that act, right? As you see with that Renee Good woman, the dude that did it, and he basically has no penalties for his blood or her blood being on his hands, right? And we understand this is all part of ultimately, as the scripture says here in the book of Daniel 12, right? Jacob's trouble, as Apostle Tahar coined this year, the year of apostate, sellout, agent, and Jacob's trouble, man. Right? This Daniel 12 at the top, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. All right, and we're seeing that time of Jacob's trouble, which is so-called African Americans, Latinos, and Native Americans, that are going to be, being judged in these times. As the scripture says, for judgment must first begin at the house of Israel, man. Right? 1 Peter 4. This is Jeremiah 30:6, and it reads, ask ye now and see whether a man, matter of fact, let's read in NLT. Let's see what it says. It says, now let me ask you a question. Do men give birth to babies? Then why do they stand there, ashen-faced, hands pressed against their sides like a woman in labor? In all history, there has never been such a time of terror. It will be a time of trouble for my people Israel, yet in the end they will be saved, meaning the elect. in the end will be saved, right? Because 2/3 have to take forth or eat forth of that judgment that Yahweh Shem Shai is going to bring upon them, whether it be famine, pestilence, right? Martial law truth, ICE agent, whatever the case is, man. Their end is going to be in death, right? It's not going to be glory and an everlasting name as the elect are, right? So getting back into this article, right? It says the memo obtained by the Associated Press was signed by acting ICE Director Todd Lyons in May 2025 and directs agents that they can rely on administrative warrants, Form I-205, rather than warrants signed by a judge when entering residences to arrest individuals with final remove orders. Critics argue this change conflicts with long-standing legal precedent and constitutional protections against unreasonable searches and seizures. And really, this is spirit because the brother in Atlanta, the brother Kashakwala, right? He did a lesson a while ago entitled Kangaroo Court, right? And his lesson sparked me to do a lesson on Land Back Through the Spirit on kangaroo courts. As a matter of fact, because this is exactly what's going on, essentially, right? So I typed in kangaroo court facts. It says a kangaroo court is an illegitimate or sham judicial proceeding that pretends to follow legal process but ignores fundamental principles of justice. Meaning what? No legal authority. Kangaroo courts usually have no lawful power to judge or punish. Pre-decided outcomes. Verdicts are often decided in advance regardless of evidence. Lack of due process. Defendants are denied basic rights such as a fair hearing, legal representation, ability to present evidence or call witnesses, right? Biased judges, intimidation or coercion. And both of those say what? The judge or decision maker are typically partial or directly interested in the outcome. Proceedings may involve threats, public shaming, or force, right? Says courts that jump over legal procedures. And ultimately, when you see them rounding up, Southern and Northern Kingdom now, guess what? These same legal procedures are ultimately thrown out the window. That's how he is able to, chain up a bunch or handcuff a bunch of Northern Kingdom and release them over the ocean, or chain up a bunch of Northern Kingdom, and release them in Sudan, right, or parts of Africa, because there's no legal validity in those sentences, in them being handcuffed and taken away, right? So this is all ties back into ultimately citizens' rights being stripped from them, and E coming down as that dragon, right? And we go into the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter, and it speaks about what? Two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. Well, this is the draconian law that he's enforcing, where men aren't being held accountable for handcuffing, shooting, and or killing U.S. citizens, right? And not being held by the standard to ultimately legally, they're able to enter into these houses illegally, handcuff you, take you away from your family, and that's also going into the besiegement, much like 70 A.D., where Jake was besieged. The trench was set about the city. Goods, supplies weren't able to be brought into the city. Jake starved out, and ultimately the Romans overcame him. Hey, well, now you have the modern Roman, right, which is the IDF, the ISCE, right, come into your houses and doing the same thing, splitting you up once again. And we told you through the spirit, right? So this is all sparking what? Civil war. Because there's going to be a point in time where these people are going to physically rouse up and fight against them, right? Now, we understand, hey, we're spiritual men. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Hey, but these people are going to fight back. And they're going to lose, right? He was blessed with the sword. So any nigga thinking that he's going to be able to fight against these agents and prevail is a fool, right? Jacob's blessing was not the sword. Esau's blessing was a sword. And that's why you see him moving as he is, right? When we go into the book of Revelation, the 6th chapter, and it speaks about that red horse, that was established to take what? Peace upon the earth. And to him was given what? A great sword. He's fully exercising his role. Esau is actually doing what he's supposed to be doing, man. He's actually being obedient. And we understand no one can be disobedient unto the will of Yahweh Shemel Shai, but he's a perfect devil, right? It says, under the policy, officers are instructed to announce themselves and their purpose, give those inside a reasonable chance to comply, and make entries only between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. It says, if those inside refuse entry, the memo states agents may use necessary and reasonable force, even if that means a shooting to kill. It says to enter. Though the directive has not been widely circulated across ICE, new officers have been trained under its guidance. It says the memo's release came amid heightened ICE enforcement operations in locations like Minneapolis, where agents have been carrying out a surge of arrests under what the Department of Homeland Security calls Operation Metro Surge. Critics say the aggressive tactics and warrantless entries raise serious legal and civil rights concerns. Legal advocates and constitutional scholars contend the policy could violate the Fourth Amendment, and immigrant rights groups are preparing challenges in court. It says whistleblower aide representing insiders who brought the memo to light has filed complaints about both the secrecy and the policy and its potential unconstitutionality, right? But this ain't gonna stop them. This is coming from the book of Second Esdras, the 16th chapter, and I'll start here at the Madman Spirit 9. So here we go. This is Second Esdras 16 and 70. And it reads, for there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, right? Because we're going to be targeted for what we believe in, right? As Yahweh Shai was targeted by being the Messiah, right? The only begotten son of Yahweh, right? And only for preaching the truth, right? He didn't do any carnal or didn't make any carnal moves. He didn't sin. Yet Jake hated him because he shined the light. So, hey, we're going to be the same, man. And the scripture clearly tells us the servant is not greater than his Lord, right? So continuing, it says, for they shall, it's like it, 71, they shall be like madmen sparing none. And that's what you see. Look at them. This picture alone says a lot. As they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And well, here it is. You have all these men with big ass rifles, right? And what are they doing? Ultimately coming up against citizens, who are just trying to live their life ultimately, right? It says they shall be like madmen sparing none. And that's what you see, being able to go into the houses, take the baby, take the children, take the father, the mother, and can separate families that easily. That shows you the mind state that they're coming in. It says, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord, right? So I want to also grab this here because, hey, we speaking about civil war. There's a trend right now on TikTok called the nastiest angle, right? And it's funny it's called that, but nevertheless, I'm going to allow this Jake to speak on it. Oops. Come on, man. Where's the volume? Where's the volume? Shit, man. Oh, here we go. All right, now Jake's soft as shit, but
the nastiest angle trend is actually kind of hilarious. It's literally people showing themselves hiding in plain sight, and then they have some object that is representing a pew pew, and it's basically them saying if ICE were to be going door to door, they could be hiding in the nastiest angle where they're hiding in plain sight, but they won't be able to be seen. And if ICE decides to run up inside of their house, they have the weapon to eliminate. And I just think it's actually insane, but it's really actually funny because genuinely, what are these ICE agents going to expect if they actually go through with this door-to-door thing? Do they think people aren't going to eventually retaliate because of the harm that ICE is literally doing to U.S. citizens and just anybody? I just feel like, I don't even know, but I don't think it's a joke. I don't think people doing the nastiest angle trend are joking. I think after making the video and participating in the trend, they're probably actually realizing that whatever angle they did for the video would actually be where they would need to be if ICE were going door to door and terrorizing the people in order to basically be hiding in plain sight so that they can get ICE before ICE gets them. And genuinely, in some of these videos, I can't even tell where the person is for a long time, like where they're hiding. I'm like, oh no, baby. If this were to be what's happening, I don't think ICE would even be doing that for too long.
And this is the
Because
thing.
the way these people are.
Hey, E is at the point where he don't need physical bullets, man. We seen what he did to the people in Venezuela. So yeah, the people are going to resist for a time period, but guess what? It's going to be to no avail, right? Because you're not stronger than your government. Yeah, the right was created for you to protect yourself against a corrupted government, but nevertheless, E not playing, man. And that's what these people don't understand. Yeah, you have Edomites who practice, in the ranges and in the fields and all these different spots. But at the end of the day, he don't need to go into the house no more. What if he just burned the house? Then what? Well, what does your angle do in that regard if he just sets fire to it or lets off that same weapon he let off to that Venezuelans army that was protecting Maduro? And what do you do then? Right? Because the what do you call it? The articles on what happened to those soldiers, and their systems were shot to the point where they were bleeding out of all their orifices, man, to where they were throwing up. Told them they were incapacitated, right? But I'm gonna show these videos. Right? So all these people are posting these videos of basically what they're going to do when ICE is knocking at their door, right? And on top of that, you letting them know what you're gonna do, stupid.
Y'all need
Right?
to stop posting your nastiest angles on here where all the letter agencies will find out. Okay? You either keep that shit secret or just hook up like 1,000 pounds of tannerite to your door and that'll get the job done.
See?
I've been seeing those
And
nasty angles.
These people are willingly putting up this information, right? Showing the government what they plan on doing. Hey, that's ultimately a threat in his eyes, right? That's a threat in his eyes. So what is he going to do with these same individuals who are posting this content saying what they're going to do when they come into their house? Hey, well, he'll just get you early. Or he knows your patterns. He knows when the ping off a certain that he is wiser than Daniel, man. He's a master of subtlety and of cunning arts and the sword. But he also wants you to fight because it's going to bring forth chaos, man. And in that chaos, you're going to ask for a new solution. And that new solution is going to lead into what? The MOTB being established. For order's sake. Right? This second Edge 15. Right? Because it's not just going to be people against ICE, it's going to be citizen versus citizen. Does not the scripture say what it says in the book of, it's like, I'm going to get it now. This Isaiah, the 19th chapter. Isaiah 19:2. It says, and I'll set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So it's going to be neighbor against neighbor as well, man. ICE ain't your only threat, right? Here it is in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, 15 and 14. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. And the modern day sword is what? The gun. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, right? So you're gonna have your mayors, your local government officials, they be targeted by the American civilians because what? Because all hell is gonna be breaking loose. A martial law checkpoints are going to be set in act, right? It says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, right? So it's nothing for them to come in now. But what happens when they hit an EMP, right? And they cause your cell phone and all different electronics to be shut out. And then what? The trucking industry halts to where the food left in the grocery stores is only there, right? You can't get it anywhere else. Oh, so now on top of you not being able to reach out to the ones you love, you're not hungry, right? So it's going to cause infighting because it's more than just them coming into your houses and snatching people. It's a whole myriad of things in which Yahweh Shema Shah is going to allow to become catalysts to the end of this place, to the end of Esau's age. Martial law is one of them, civil war is one of them, but guess what? This has to come to pass as well. Neighbor against neighbor, Egyptian against Egyptian, kingdom against kingdom. It's division on every single level, right? The second Edges 15 and 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So when people can't eat, they lose it, right? Ice is just the top or the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. What about when all the rest of the hell comes? Then what? Right? But as for now, we're going to continue to watch this unfold, right? But both sides are ultimately feeling this war because what? You have ICE going into people's houses, snatching them out. And then you have the general public that's going to get fed up, which is going to give Esau the response that he wants to what? To go harder. So you're playing into his trap card, so to speak, right? As Apostle Gabar always says, what? The trick bag. He wants you to react carnally. He wants you to fight against him so he can bring forth an established order. That's all part of the Novus Ordo Seclorum, man, the New World Order, right? So that was pretty much the point. I just wanted to show forth this trend, how the people are starting to rebel through media, right? But soon is going to be a combat to combat, right? Bullet to bullet, so to speak. So that was the point. Lord willing, it was edifying. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Harakah HaKodash. And double honors unto the apostles and elders of GMS Great Millstone, and a sincere shalom to Yakim bringing out this word in diligence and in truth. Shalom.